There is a quiet lie that settles deep inside the heart, whispering, "You're behind, you've missed your chance, it's too late for you." But pause for a moment. Who told you that your life must follow someone else's timeline? Who decided that healing has a deadline, that growth expires, that transformation is reserved only for the young, the early, the on time? You are not late, you are being prepared. Sometimes what feels like delay is actually protection. What feels like being left behind is actually being held back from something that wasn't meant for you. Not every closed door is rejection, some are mercy. Not every pause is failure. Some are divine timing unfolding in ways you cannot yet see. You look around and see others building, achieving, moving ahead, and your heart aches. You wonder why your path feels slower, heavier, more uncertain, but what you don't see is this. Some people build quickly, but without foundation. And when the storms come, and they always do, what collapses was never meant to last. You, however, are being rebuilt from the inside out, and that takes time. Rebuilding yourself is not about rushing to become someone new overnight. It's about returning to who you were always meant to be. It's about unlearning what broke you, healing what hurt you, and letting go of what no longer belongs in your life. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely at times. It's slow, but it's real. In 2026, you don't need to prove anything to the world. You don't need to catch up with anyone. Your only responsibility is to honor your own journey. If you are still standing after everything you've been through, if you are still trying, still hoping, still searching for light, then you are not behind, you are in progress. Maybe this year is not about big, visible success. Maybe it's about quiet transformation, about healing your heart, about strengthening your connection with purpose, about learning to trust again, yourself, your path, and the timing of your life, because rebuilding isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like choosing peace over chaos. Sometimes it looks like walking away from what drains you. Sometimes it looks like starting over even when it's hard. And yes, starting over can feel like failure, but in truth, it is one of the bravest things a person can do, to begin again when you're tired, when you're unsure, when you feel broken. That is not weakness. That is strength in its purest form. You are not late because your story is not finished. There are chapters you haven't lived yet, versions of yourself you haven't met yet, doors that haven't opened yet, but they require something from you first: patience, trust, and the courage to keep going even when you don't see immediate results. So let this be the year you stop rushing your healing. Let this be the year you stop comparing your path. Let this be the year you rebuild slowly, intentionally, sincerely, brick by brick, prayer by prayer, step by step, because what is built with patience lasts. And one day you will look back at this moment, the uncertainty, the waiting, the rebuilding, and you will realize something powerful. You were never late. You were exactly where you needed to be, becoming who you were meant to become. There is a deep, quiet pressure that many people carry, a pressure that says you should have achieved more by now, that you should be further ahead, that somehow your life is not unfolding the way it's supposed to. You look around and see others reaching milestones, careers taking off, relationships forming, dreams materializing, and without even realizing it, you begin to measure your worth against their progress. But this is where the misunderstanding begins. Your life was never meant to be a copy of someone else's story. Each person is walking a path uniquely designed for them with its own timing, lessons, and purpose. What comes early for someone else may come later for you, not because you are less capable, but because your journey requires different preparation. Some people are given things quickly, but without depth. Others are given time to grow, to reflect, to build something stronger within themselves. And that time is not a delay. It is a gift. When you believe you are late, you start to rush decisions. You accept what isn't right just to feel like you're catching up. You settle for less than you deserve because you fear being left behind. But rushing your journey often leads to building a life that doesn't truly align with who you are. Being on your own timeline means honoring where you are right now, even if it doesn't look impressive to the world. It means trusting that the pace of your life is not a mistake. There is wisdom in your waiting, even if you don't yet understand it. Think about how a seed grows. It is placed in the soil, hidden from sight. For a long time, nothing seems to happen. From the outside, it looks like emptiness, like stillness. But beneath the surface, something powerful is taking place. Roots are forming. Strength is developing. The foundation is being built. If you were to dig it up too soon, it wouldn't survive. In the same way, your life may feel like it's in a quiet phase, like nothing is moving, nothing is changing. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Growth is often invisible before it becomes visible. And just because others are blooming around you doesn't mean your time isn't coming. It simply means your roots are still growing. Let go of the illusion that there is a universal timeline you must follow. Life is not a race with a fixed finish line. There is no single moment by which everything must fall into place. The idea that you are late is only born from comparison, and comparison blinds you to the beauty of your own path. You are not behind, you are being shaped. Every experience you've had, the setbacks, the detours, the moments of confusion, they are all part of preparing you for what lies ahead. Nothing is wasted. Even the time you think you've lost is teaching you something, strengthening you in ways that will matter later. So instead of asking, why am I not there yet? Ask, what am I learning here? Instead of fearing that you're running out of time, remember that what is meant for you will not miss you. What is written for your life will arrive at the right moment, not early, not late, but exactly when you are ready to receive it. Your journey is not delayed, it is unfolding. And one day, when everything comes together, you will understand why it had to happen at this pace. You will see that if things had come earlier, you wouldn't have been ready. You wouldn't have appreciated them. You wouldn't have had the strength to sustain them. So trust where you are. Even if it feels slow, even if it feels uncertain, even if it feels like you're the only one not moving forward, you are moving, just in a way that is deeper, quieter, and more meaningful. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be. One of the hardest things to accept in life is waiting, especially when your heart is ready for something now. You make plans, you set intentions, you pray, you work, and yet the door doesn't open, the opportunity doesn't come, the relationship doesn't work out, and slowly a painful thought begins to form. Why is this happening to me? It feels like rejection. It feels like you're being denied something good. It feels like punishment. But what if the delay you're experiencing is not meant to harm you, but to protect you? Not every no is a loss. Not every pause is empty. Sometimes what you are being kept away from is something you cannot yet see clearly. You might be asking for something with all your heart, believing it will bring you happiness, fulfillment, or peace. But your vision is limited. You can only see the surface. You don't see the consequences, the hidden cracks, the unseen weight that comes with it. There are moments in life when you think, if only this had worked out, I would be happy. But time reveals something different. You begin to realize that what didn't happen was actually saving you from the wrong people, the wrong environments, the wrong timing, and suddenly what once felt like loss begins to look like mercy. The problem is we often judge our lives based on immediate outcomes. If something doesn't go our way, we assume it's bad. If things are slow or uncertain, we assume we're falling behind. But life is not just about what is happening right now. It's about where all of this is leading. A delay is not always a denial. Sometimes it's redirection, sometimes it's preparation. And sometimes it's protection from something that would have broken you in ways you weren't ready for. Think about the times in your life when something didn't work out the way you wanted. At the time, it hurt, it confused you. Maybe it even made you question everything. But later, with distance and clarity, you saw the truth. If that door had opened, it would have led you somewhere you were never meant to be. And in that realization, there is peace. Protection doesn't always feel gentle. Sometimes it feels like disappointment. Sometimes it feels like silence. Sometimes it feels like being left behind while everyone else moves forward. But protection is not always about comfort. It's about preservation. You are being preserved for something better, something more aligned, something that will not harm your heart or take you away from your purpose. And that requires trust. Trust that even when things don't make sense, there is wisdom behind the delay. It's easy to trust when things are going your way. But true trust is built in moments of uncertainty, when you don't have all the answers, when you're standing in the middle of a pause that feels endless. In those moments, remind yourself, just because I don't understand it now doesn't mean it's not good for me. Maybe you're not getting what you want because it's not right for you yet. Maybe you're being slowed down because you need to grow first. Maybe you're being redirected because something better is waiting ahead. And yes, it's hard to be patient when your heart is longing for something. It's hard to stay hopeful when nothing seems to be changing. But forcing things before their time often leads to regret. What comes too early can leave just as quickly. What is meant for you will come at the right time. And when it does, it will not feel forced, rushed, or unstable. It will feel right. So instead of seeing delays as punishment, try to see them as care, as a form of unseen protection, as a way of being guided even when you don't realize it, because sometimes the greatest blessings in your life are not just in what you receive, but in what you were protected from. We live in a world that celebrates speed, quick success, instant results, overnight transformations. Everywhere you look, there's pressure to fix your life fast, to heal quickly, to move on immediately, to become a better version of yourself without delay. And when your progress doesn't match that pace, it's easy to feel like you're doing something wrong. But real rebuilding doesn't work like that. Rebuilding yourself after heartbreak, after failure, after disappointment is not something that happens in a moment. It is not a switch you flip. It is a process, a slow, often invisible process that unfolds layer by layer, piece by piece, and that slowness is not weakness, it is depth. When something breaks within you, whether it's your trust, your confidence, or your sense of direction, it leaves behind cracks that cannot simply be covered up. You can pretend to be okay, you can distract yourself, you can rush into new beginnings just to escape the pain of the old ones. But if you don't take the time to truly rebuild, those cracks remain, and they show up again when life tests you. That's why rebuilding takes time. It requires you to sit with yourself in ways you may have been avoiding, to face your pain instead of running from it, to understand what hurt you, why it hurt you, and what needs to change moving forward. It asks you to unlearn patterns that no longer serve you and to let go of things that once felt familiar, even if they weren't healthy. And that is not easy work. There will be days when you feel like you're making progress, and then suddenly you feel like you've taken 10 steps back. There will be moments when old wounds resurface, when emotions catch you off guard, when you question whether you're healing at all. But healing is not linear. It doesn't follow a straight path. It moves in waves forward, backward, stillness, and then forward again. And every part of that journey matters. Even the setbacks are teaching you something. Even the slow days are part of the process. Rebuilding also means redefining who you are, not based on what others expect from you, but based on what truly aligns with your values and your purpose. It means learning to trust yourself again, learning to set boundaries, learning to choose what is right over what is easy. And those lessons take time to sink in. Think of it like rebuilding a home after it has been damaged. If you rush to fix only what is visible, the structure remains weak. But if you take the time to strengthen the foundation, to rebuild it carefully, intentionally, it becomes something stronger than it was before. You are that home, and right now, you may be in the middle of reconstruction. It may look messy. It may feel uncertain. Others may not understand why you're taking so long. They may expect you to be over it by now, to have moved on, to have everything figured out, but your timeline is not theirs. You are not here to rush your healing just to meet someone else's expectations. You are here to rebuild in a way that is real, lasting, and true to who you are becoming. So be patient with yourself. Give yourself permission to grow slowly, to take breaks when you need to feel what you need to feel without judgment, to celebrate small progress, even if it doesn't look impressive to anyone else, because the strongest transformations are not the fastest ones. They are the ones that take time, the ones built with intention, honesty, and care. And one day, you will look at yourself and realize that you didn't just get through what broke you, you became stronger because of it. So don't rush the process. Don't compare your healing to anyone else's. Rebuilding takes time. And that's not only okay, it's necessary. One of the most exhausting traps you can fall into is the need to compete with everyone around you, especially when it comes to life itself. Without even realizing it, you start measuring your progress against others, their success, their happiness, their milestones. You scroll through their lives and quietly ask yourself, why am I not there yet? And in that moment, something shifts inside you. Your journey stops being about growth and starts becoming about comparison. But here's the truth. Healing and competition cannot exist in the same space. The moment you turn your life into a race, you lose the ability to move at the pace your heart actually needs. Because healing is not about being ahead of anyone else. It's about being honest with yourself. When you focus on competing, you begin to ignore your inner state. You push your pain aside because you feel like you don't have time to deal with it. You rush into decisions not because they are right for you, but because you don't want to feel left behind. You choose what looks good from the outside, even if it doesn't feel right on the inside. And slowly, you drift further away from yourself. Healing asks something completely different from you. It asks you to slow down, to pause, to look within instead of constantly looking around. It asks you to face your wounds, not to compare them, not to minimize them, but to actually understand them. What hurt you? What patterns are repeating in your life? What are you holding on to that is no longer serving you? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary ones, because if you don't take the time to heal, you carry your pain into everything you do, into your relationships, into your decisions, into your future. And no amount of external success can compensate for an unhealed heart. You might achieve everything you once wanted, but still feel empty. That's the cost of choosing competition over healing. The world may celebrate visible achievements, but the most important work you will ever do is invisible. It's the work of repairing your inner world, of learning to trust again, of letting go of resentment, of building a sense of peace that doesn't depend on anyone else's validation. And that kind of work cannot be rushed. When you stop competing, something beautiful happens. You begin to listen to yourself more. You start making choices that align with your values, not with society's expectations. You become less concerned with how your life looks and more concerned with how it feels. And that shift changes everything. You begin to understand that your worth is not tied to how quickly you achieve something. It is not measured by how your life compares to someone else's. Your worth is inherent. It exists regardless of your timeline, your struggles, or your pace. So why exhaust yourself trying to prove it? Let others run their race if they choose to. Let them chase timelines and expectations, but you choose something different. Choose to protect your peace. Choose to prioritize your healing. Choose to build a life that is meaningful, not just impressive, because in the end, the goal is not to win against others. The goal is to be whole within yourself. And that requires courage, the courage to step away from comparison, to silence the noise, and to focus on what truly matters. It requires you to trust that even if your journey looks different, it is not less valuable. It is just more personal. So take your time, turn inward, do the work that no one sees, because when you focus on healing instead of competing, you don't just move forward, you transform. And that transformation is worth more than any race you could ever win. There is a fear that holds many people back more than anything else, the fear of starting over. It whispers that if you walk away now, if you let go, if you begin again, it means you've failed. It tells you that all the time you invested, all the effort you gave will be wasted. So you stay, you hold on, you convince yourself to keep going, even when something inside you knows it's no longer right. But staying in something that is breaking you is not strength. And walking away is not weakness. Starting over is one of the most misunderstood acts of courage. From the outside, it can look like loss. It can look like you're going backwards while everyone else is moving forward. But in reality, starting over is often the moment you finally choose truth over comfort. It takes strength to admit that something isn't working. It takes strength to face the unknown instead of clinging to what is familiar. And it takes even more strength to rebuild your life from a place of uncertainty. Many people never reach that point. They stay stuck in situations that drain them, relationships that hurt them, paths that don't fulfill them, versions of themselves that no longer reflect who they are. Not because they're happy, but because they're afraid, afraid of judgment, afraid of being alone, afraid of having to begin again. But what they don't realize is this: staying in the wrong place out of fear costs you far more than starting over ever will. It costs you your peace, your growth, your sense of self. When you choose to start over, you are not erasing your past, you are learning from it. Everything you've been through, every mistake, every lesson, every moment of pain, it all becomes part of the foundation you build on next. Nothing is wasted. The experience you gained, the strength you developed, the awareness you now carry, these things come with you. They shape the way you move forward. They help you make better choices. They protect you from repeating the same patterns. So starting over is not going back to zero. It is starting again with wisdom. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it can feel lonely at times. There will be moments when you question your decision, when you wonder if it would have been easier to just stay where you were. But deep down, there is also a quiet sense of relief. A feeling that, for the first time in a long time, you are being honest with yourself. And that honesty is powerful, because when you are honest with yourself, you create space for something real to enter your life, something aligned. Something that doesn't require you to shrink or pretend. Starting over opens doors you couldn't see before, because you were too busy standing in the wrong room. It allows you to redefine your life on your own terms, to choose differently, to build something that reflects who you are now, not who you used to be. And that is growth. People may not always understand your decision. They may question why you walked away, why you let go, why you chose a harder path. But this journey is not about meeting their expectations. It's about honoring your truth. You are the one who lives with your choices. You are the one who carries your heart. So choose what brings you peace, even if it requires starting again. Because in the end, it's not failure to begin again. Failure is knowing something isn't right and refusing to change it. Starting over is not the end of your story. It is the moment your story begins to align with who you are meant to be. So don't fear it. Don't resist it. Embrace it, because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is start again. There are moments in life when everything feels uncertain. You don't know where you're going. You don't know how things will turn out. And you don't even recognize the path you're walking anymore. It feels like you're standing in the middle of a story that has lost its direction. And in those moments, doubt becomes loud. You start to question everything. Your choices, your timing, your worth. You wonder if you've missed your chance, if things will ever come together, if the life you hoped for is slowly slipping away. It's a heavy feeling, like you're stuck in a chapter that doesn't make sense. But here's the truth you need to hold on to. Just because you don't understand your current chapter doesn't mean the story is over. Every meaningful story has moments of confusion, struggle, and uncertainty. There are chapters where everything falls apart before it comes together. There are moments where the path disappears before a new one is revealed. And your life is no different. You are not meant to have all the answers right now. You are not meant to see the full picture while you are still living inside it. That clarity comes later, when you look back and realize how every piece, even the painful ones, fit together in a way you couldn't have planned. Trusting the process means accepting that you don't need to control everything to move forward. It means believing that even when things feel messy and unclear, there is still meaning in what you're going through because there is every delay, every setback, every unexpected turn. It is all shaping you. It is teaching you patience, resilience, humility, and strength. It is preparing you for a version of your life that requires a stronger, wiser, more grounded version of you, but preparation often feels like nothing is happening. That's the challenge when you can't see progress, when results aren't immediate, when your efforts don't seem to be paying off. It's easy to lose hope. It's easy to feel like your story is stuck, like nothing is changing, but growth is not always visible. Sometimes it's happening quietly within you, in the way you think, in the way you respond, in the way you carry yourself through difficult moments. These internal shifts may not be seen by others, but they are the foundation of everything that is yet to come. And they matter more than you realize. Trusting the process also means letting go of the need to rush your story. You don't need everything to happen at once. You don't need to have your entire future figured out today. Life unfolds step by step, moment by moment, and each step has a purpose. What is meant for you will come, but it will come at the right time. Not when you're impatient, not when you're comparing yourself to others, but when you are ready, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And readiness cannot be rushed. There are things you are still learning. There are parts of yourself still growing. And that growth is essential for what lies ahead. Because if you were given everything you wanted too soon, you might not be able to sustain it. You might not appreciate it. You might not even recognize its value. So trust the timing. Even when it feels slow, even when it feels unfair, even when it feels like nothing is happening, something is happening. Your story is still being written. There are pages you haven't turned yet, moments you haven't lived yet, and blessings you haven't even imagined yet. So don't close the book just because this chapter feels hard. Stay. Keep going. Keep believing that what lies ahead is worth the wait, because one day you will look back and see that everything, every delay, every struggle, every moment of uncertainty was guiding you exactly where you needed to be. Your story isn't over. In fact, it's still unfolding in ways you cannot yet see, so trust the process.